Welcome to the Resellers Niche podcast, a show for e-commerce buyers and sellers where we investigate unique categories of items being bought and sold and show how research equals knowledge equals profit. And now your hosts, Russ and Mo.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Reselling Niche podcast. I'm here with Russ Lee. How's it going, Russ?
It's going good, Mo. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just had a new topic here. It's kind of slightly different. Well, slightly the same. We'll see. Topic is Q4 and being 45 days away from Q4 to be exact. So we are in the middle of August and we're heading towards everyone's favorite season of the year in terms of reselling. eBay, Amazon, and whatnot, Q4. So how would you start to think about being 45 days away from the beginning of Q4, Russ?
Well, being aware of it is the biggest thing. You know, you don't want to get caught, oh, Q4 is here, so it's all about preparation. And of course, always in our theme, research knowledge equals profit. So some of the knowledge that you can start gaining now. But myself, and I can only say for what I'm doing for myself for Q4, a couple of things. One, I'm starting to what I call rat hole some more money. If I got an extra 20, 50 bucks, I stick it in the drawer. That's Q4 money.
Yeah.
So that way I don't go, I'm waiting for a sale to increase to buy another thing during Q4. Another thing I'm doing is there are items that I'm starting to source that I know Q4 they will do better. And typically I'm a fast nickel. I like the quick flips, but there's just certain things are going to sell better during Q4 and higher price.
Absolutely.
So we're close enough now. It's worth kind of holding back on some of those items.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What kind of things have you been doing to prep for Q4?
Well, I'd say that one of the things I did yesterday was I ordered, I always go and I try and get my free supplies as early as possible because I used to be in a shipping store and they'd actually send out a letter, UPS, FedEx. Around this time of year, we'll get a big mat and it'll have the dates, like dates to ship by, like on Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. Their blackout dates, their days they're closed and whatnot. Another thing they actually advise us, UPS, FedEx, to order your supplies early. So for me, these days I order more from USPS. So go to the USPS website and order the free supplies because they take a while to get to you anyway. But around this, once you get into September, October, November, they may not even have them. I've heard of people ordering stuff in like November, December, and then it came in January, like boxes from USPS and things like that.
Right. Yeah. And if it's padded flat rates and you run out, and most of you're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, order ahead on that, and even saying, well, the most of the post offices will have boxes. The mediums, the smalls, and the large flat rates. I've heard where some of those have ran out too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
People will have to drive all around their town looking for a medium flat rate box. So
yeah, and it's not just USPS, like UPS. What were we trying to drop off? Just a simple, I think it was an overnight letter. So it was an envelope, and I just needed an overnight UPS. And I ran out of them, and so I had my printed out label. I printed them out at home, and I took them in. So I had my label on my envelope. It was like a check, and then I went into the UPS store, and they said, "We don't carry envelopes anymore, but you could buy one." So even something as simple as a UPS envelope.
Right. So plan ahead on. Yeah, great point, Mo. Plan ahead on your supplies. Even if you buy the box, if your stuff is box or poly bag, make sure you have.
Poly bags. That's a huge one. Because you can't buy, I don't know of a place where you could walk in and buy a poly bag. There's, some great stores online But
I don't think I think that's like a unicorn, isn't it? A poly bag being sold at a brick and mortar anymore?
I've never seen them. I've seen them used, but I'm sure that's people or stores buying them, in bulk online. But I mean, there's that's another thing. I would definitely buy your poly bags ahead of time. Don't run out of those. They're hard to find.
How it's great you brought that up kind of first, because without shipping, you're out of business.
Yes, I mean, get your supplies in, and don't do what I did. I want to say 3-4 years ago. I ordered. Is it USPS? You can order stuff, and I kind of went crazy, and I ordered like 3 or 4 boxes of each. I was sitting with those things for like a good 2 years. Like I had like 4 boxes of this, 4 boxes of that.
Took a while to use them.
Yeah, I never used them. I'm like, okay, and it took me forever to use them. I didn't want to throw them away because that's a waste of cardboard. I mean, so actually, I was able to, the boxes that were sealed, I was able to hand them back to the postman at least. So,
yeah. You can. I when I moved from Mobile, Alabama, I took my extra supplies to the post office, and they took them. Yeah,
exactly.
So don't waste them.
So
I think another thing to start thinking about along those lines on the shipping and stuff like that is, so you got your boxes, you got your thing. Make sure your printer.
Yeah.
And if you're using labels, make sure you've got plenty of labels.
Yeah.
The whole gambit of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then maybe if you're not using a thermal printer now, if you can get one of those started, especially if you're going to be doing more shipping, because you don't have to pay for you do have to pay for the thermal labels, but you don't have to pay for the ink. So if you can, that's a kind of a helpful thing, and they're smaller than, because I have both. I have a regular a laser jet and a thermal printer, but I try and use the thermal printer as much as possible.
Right. Yeah. Uses less ink. And I've noticed that the personal label printers, the inkjet, they're coming down in price.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I mean, basically the ones that I hear are the most popular are the Dymos and the Zebras. So the Zebra is the one I use. I've used it for years. It seems to do a pretty good job. And Dymos are great too, if you can find them online. I remember I was having a conversation with somebody a couple of days ago. They were talking about, I think on Amazon, they're running for about $160 or so. On eBay, they're actually cheaper, $120 to $140, somewhere in there. So get them now while people are, have them and sitting around before it's too late.
Another thing that you can't have in the business, if your business will stall if you don't have, is listing. So, some of that, you can prep some of that listing. I know a lot of people, if you get something, you may not want to put drafts, because I think sometimes drafts can go away, especially like on eBay. But create your little sheet and just stick it in with all the info. If you're going to do some research, go ahead and stick it in, make a little info sheet, type it up or whatever, handwrite it up, stick it with that product. And that way, when it is time to list in Q4, when you hit your optimum time, then you've got your research done already.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And in terms of, now is the time to start sending stuff in the FBA and to start building, what you're going to list, how you're going to list, and start listing bit by bit by bit. Just get it done. I was listing yesterday. I'm not really into mass listing on eBay yet. I'm starting to build up that Chris 10K in the Bay talks about his eBay muscle. He lists a lot a day. So I think he said he lists like 100 something a day. I can't do that, but I think yesterday I did the most I've ever done in one day. It was like 52 listings. There's a lot of smaller items though, like a lot of DVDs and things like that. So that's why that was.
Wait, stop right there. 52 listings.
Yeah, I think it was 52 listings.
Awesome. That's awesome.
That's my new record. So I was pretty proud with that. And one thing I would say about that, and I steal this from like anyone that does automated listing, in the sense that you automate your system, like Chris did. I think he said he had a little sticker on the ground where like the parts of the pants go or the jeans or whatnot.
Right.
With mine, it was literally like grab it, picture this way, this, and I'd do 6 pictures of a DVD, is the front, back, and then each side. And then when I would go to do the eBay listing, obviously it gives you 12 spots. So then I just go back into the phone library and hit those 6 again. So I use those 6 pictures twice.
Gotcha.
Save myself a little time, and then I kind of got in a rhythm of like boom, 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 next, boom, 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 next, and then so that's how I did all my pictures up front, and then the listing part actually took longer. Pictures were like literally seconds.
Nice. That's good. So you brought up a good point. FBA right now, like you said, it's a perfect time to be sending into FBA.
Yeah.
And getting that in. Your long-term storage fees won't hit on an item today until what, February, March?
I believe it's early February because it just happened yesterday. What do they call it? The LTSF, long-term storage fee. Okay, right. Good. I got that right. It just hit yesterday. So if you weren't paying, or if you don't have that much stuff, it's okay. But if you have, thousands of items in there, then you might want to check that out, because on your next statement, you're going to get a bill for something.
Right.
August 16th is the best time to start sending in large loads of stuff you can take a chance with, because you're not going to get hit for 6 months or so. And then with me, I just started to send in more and more stuff this week. You probably should have been ramping up anyway, but especially if you're getting the wholesale, anything where it's bulk, multiples,
right?
It's a good time to send them in now.
And not only eBay and Amazon kind of this way, when we talk about Q4, I always like to mention that January is really in that Q4 too.
Oh yeah.
I was extremely, the retail business kind of drops off. Retail brick and mortar will always say it drops off in January. But online, it was almost like Christmas didn't happen until 20th, 25th of January.
There's like
January sales were.
There's like a couple of days where there's a little bit of a lull, where in terms it just goes down a little bit, but then it bumps right back up in January. Even I would say till like late January, and then it slows, and then you've got Valentine's Day real fast, and then you could even say that goes into mid-February.
Right. Now, typically, Mo, when we think of Q4, we often think of gifts and Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's our big thing. But look what also happens in Q4, fall time.
Oh, yes.
Football season.
Yes.
So, people, I've got some some SEC stuff listing now.
Okay.
Football season. Halloween's coming up.
Yep.
Start putting those costumes on.
Yep. Last year was the first year I started doing seasonal stuff. So then exactly what you're saying. I'd say the first season right now it's already started, and people have been sending it in for a month now, is back to school. You've already seen the, everywhere there's like posters and everything basically since after July 4th as back to school.
Right. Back to school. When does school start out there in California?
For us, it is probably, I said, the 29th or the 30th of August. So it's late compared to, I know in the Midwest and the South, the East Coast, I've seen a lot of pictures of kids with backpacks already.
Yeah, I think August 9th was like part of the country. They started here in the South.
Yeah.
Early August now. So yeah, so you can, if like for me, my first thought was, well, I've missed back to school season because they're back to school here in Louisiana.
Yeah.
But yet, they're not back in California yet.
No.
So,
and the way it works, especially like I don't know about in the college system where you are but they have the quarter system and the semester system here, and those are different dates. Like I think the semester, like I'm talking about university now.
University, right.
Yeah. So if you go to college, university, or even JCs, like junior colleges, they start, I want to say, in mid to late August. But then, like, that's a semester system. And then like quarter system, for example, UC Berkeley, I believe, is on the quarter system. They start in like mid-September.
Yeah, and even the ones that start in late August, the universities and colleges start in late August, they don't get their supply list for their classes until the 1st of September.
Yeah.
So, you get that bump from, they need the refrigerators. They need, the college student needs the refrigerators and all the bedding and all the stuff that they got to take.
Yeah.
But then you get that bump after, there's one bump, and then after the 10, they get their list of supplies. Boom, there's another bump.
Yep. And it's a great time to bundle. If you're into bundling now, and you could prepare it for the year, for the next 6 months. You could do, back to school bundles. You could do your Halloween bundles. You could do your Thanksgiving bundles.
Right.
And then obviously Christmas. And then even into, if you want to think that far ahead, Valentine's Day. Just kind of
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day. Oh yeah.
Eve.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yep. And then then you got college back to bowl games.
That's right. I mean, there's a million dishes.
Yep. Yeah. That's why it's. And this is one of those obscure facts that people don't. What month is your birthday in, Mo?
November.
No. Okay. Great. Perfect point. I'm the end of September.
Okay.
So the mass amount of birthdays from late September to late November is amazing. If you talk to most people, or if you talk to a lot of people,
I always wondered that.
Well, at wintertime, New Year's Eve type stuff, if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's cold in the wintertime, you're going to have a baby in October.
That's right.
So it's almost like there's a whole birthday season that we don't talk about.
That's true.
So birthday,
It's funny you say that because in my family, we all don't live in the same, like some of us live in different states, different cities, whatnot. And then Christmas was difficult for us to get together, but for some reason, well, it's either Christmas or Thanksgiving. So we would always have like 5 birthdays together at either Christmas or Thanksgiving, because those would be the, holidays that you have.
Right.
And then, so it'd be hilarious because you have these cakes with, like, they even gave up doing candles. They would just have, I'll just put one candle. We've forgotten how many birthdays they are all at the same time.
Right, because they're all kind of grouped around. I think there's three or 4 in my family within like 2 weeks of each other. So
yeah, exactly.
Season. Another season to think about is homecoming.
Oh yeah.
You got homecoming coming up for high school and colleges.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. Corsages, get all your stuff ready. That stuff is not cheap. Because I remember when I was in high school, getting that stuff together. I mean, we didn't have anything that was bundled. There was no Amazon back then, so
right.
That stuff. I remember there was one place you go. There was like 1 or 2 tuxedo rental places, and they had like the stuff that you would need. I don't think even Safeway or any of those places carried anything. Maybe like Michael's, I don't know. But yeah, definitely. There's
so much to prep. And let's talk about a new person. Say they've done it first time this year, and they're doing the typical thrift store garage sale sign.
Yep. Well, actually, it's funny you say that. Thrift stores are sometimes, for example, Goodwill. They are very reliant on Target. Target is obviously very scheduled. All the big box stores are scheduled. They get their seasonal items. They're giving back a lot of the stuff. They're clearing out, like Target, for example, clearing out a lot of stuff for, the fall season. So in thrift stores right now, you'll see a lot of stuff they want to get rid of. So you can jump on that, get that at a discounted price. They need this, Target needs a shelf space. But what I would say for a newbie is get a cheap, I don't know if you want to do it on your phone or a wall calendar, like a big paper wall calendar. We used to always have those in the store. And they would say, put the calendar on the wall and literally write by hand, by this date, I'm going to do this. By this date, by the 30th of September, I'm going to have this. By the 30th of October, I'm going to have this done, and then write it on there. And then just go by the dates. And if you can do everything a week or two before whatever date, like a month before Halloween, you should be set to go for Halloween. And that's it. So just kind of think of it step by step. If you were going to a birthday party for somebody on Halloween, you would have to buy a present in advance. If it's an adult party, maybe you're going to buy a bottle of wine or whatever it is. If it's, try and prepare for each date in order.
Yep.
That's what I would do.
And ahead of time, realize that everything moves online. Give yourself a week.
Maybe 2, especially closer to Christmas.
Oh yeah, I mean, 2 weeks on, but kind of put and I like your month by September 30th. Have all your Halloween stuff up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where. Now, and keep in mind our birthdays back then. Mine's September, so if you want to go ahead and promote my birthday and send me Amazon stuff, great.
We'll put a link down below. Wesley's birthday wish list.
No.
You can have cars and boats on there.
Birthday month, I think, is what they're doing these days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My wife said birthday month for the longest time. Now she's saying birthday year. So I'm like,
birthday year, decade, century, right. Never ends. So, but yes, it's just a lot to think about for a newbie, but don't get overwhelmed.
Oh, no. It's easy if you can just pick one and go with it and then move on to the next.
Yeah, because what the pros, what the pros are doing, guys like Sam Cohen and Chris Green, John Cartier, those guys they're 6-8 months ahead.
Yeah.
They've already, if you're a pro, you've already got your Q4 figured out in March.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, you can't say, well, I'm behind the time or whatever. For a newbie, also Q4 is that great time that can launch you into this business full time.
Yeah.
The one friend of ours that we know from Green Room, Ryan, he started with $150 in Q4.
Yeah.
And he went full time, 8 months later, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been like less than a year probably, I'm thinking.
Yeah, so there is that opportunity to use Q4 as a launching pad.
Definitely.
For the newbie, and it just solidifies that aspect of this business for people.
Oh, yeah. And then one thing I would say, it kind of is not, cautionary, but I've heard this a lot of people that have gone to the recent ASD show in Vegas, the wholesale show mainly. Be careful about buying too much clearance type stuff, even if it's a Target, Walmart, because if you're seeing it at like a big box store, or if you're seeing it at one of these big shows where there's thousands of people, other people are seeing that too. So If you are a brand new person, no, you don't necessarily have to buy 1,000 units of the first thing you see, even if it's cheap. Even though a lot of people say, if you get it cheap enough, then it's, you've made your money then. But just remember competition. If one person is dumping thousands of items in this Goodwill, guessing that across the country, other Goodwills are dumping the same item for, whatever the price might be.
That's a good lesson across the board. You run too deep. You run too deep, you can get burned in a hurry.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen guys that they've tanked on a product, and the race to the bottom on Amazon? Yeah.
And then even on eBay, for example, I did very well on ornaments, because I got more into eBay last Q4, and I'm kind of steady on eBay now. But last Q4, I started to do well with Christmas ornaments. And then I want to say it was probably late November, early December, I saw a big lot of more Christmas ornaments, and I jumped on those. I still have 90% of those because it was too late in the season.
Gotcha.
I was listing them early December. I mean, and by then, most people already had their stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's the artificial tree?
Yeah.
You better have it up and listed by Thanksgiving.
And
The
then
week after Thanksgiving, you're done.
Oh yeah. That Thanksgiving, you're basically there's a couple of buying days, obviously Black Friday, and a couple of days before, a couple of days after. But those are mainly for deals on stuff you know about. So that is where your knowledge, your research knowledge comes into play on Black Friday. Black Friday buying shouldn't be just, that's cheap, I'm going to get it. Unless you have deep pockets, you have the experience, okay, go to town. But if you're brand new and you're seeing an item you don't know anything about, and don't buy it just because it's cheap. Do a little research, because around that kind of time, yeah.
It can be cheap for a reason.
Yeah.
Not just a movie. Yeah. I bought a tablet a couple of years ago, Black Friday. It was real cheap.
Yeah.
For a reason. It was a horrible tablet.
Oh, yeah. And then there's always, I hadn't figured it out this year. What's this? There's always a thing. Like, I forget the game last year, but last year there was Oregon Trail. There's multiple games. I'm blanking out. There were 2 games. Last year was the one with the mouthpiece. The year before was the one where it hits Pie Face was 2 years ago.
Right.
What's this year's Pie Face? There's always that, which I'm always hesitant to jump on. I got some Oregon Trails last year for I want to say $6-7, but by the time they were $6-7, they were only going for $16, so they sat, and there were 1,000 people on the listing. This is Amazon, so I don't know. I'm always hesitant to chase the toy hysteria for the year.
If they all did like Nintendo and said, okay, we're putting out 500,000 items.
Yeah.
But the problem is with that, when you got a hot item, they go make more.
Yes.
And
that's true.
To create the demand, and then the reseller goes out, man, I got 55 Hatchimals last year.
Oh no, the Hatchimals.
Just as an example, the Hatchimals, they were great. They were hot.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people made money on it. And
Hatchimals
a lot of people
is a great example, actually, of something that went through the cycle in, I want to say, 2 months. It went from being pretty readily available. People started buying them up. They were going for crazy prices on eBay and Amazon. And then all of a sudden the supply went. Then they started restricting it. I don't know if it was eBay and Amazon that restricted them. I forget. But and then you see these signs on the wall that say, hatchable, there's limitations where you can buy them. I know Toys R Us did that. And then the worst part of all, in January, the returns.
The returns.
Hatchimal.
Yeah, they had a massive amount of returns on Hatchimals.
Yep, because they didn't open sometimes. And I thought it's a hoax, but they had these videos where they were showing, they're so excited and they didn't hatch. They're like, oh no, not on Christmas morning. That's your big toy and it doesn't hatch. That's horrible.
It was a great example of failed.
Yeah, big time.
Something else that I was thinking, Mo, is like the one toy, stuff like that. There's always kind of the vintage toy in the background too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, the Cabbage Patch.
Yeah.
Was one of the first coming out like that. And you've always had that one toy. I'm like you. I typically stay away from it because I don't like the risk. But there's some people that if you're willing to take the risk, man, they'll kill it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny how we gravitated towards toys without even thinking about it. It's just Q4 people think about toys. Maybe back to school people think about books. But what's the big sellers? And on the toys on Amazon, what's the Amazon rule? Is it? Oh yes, that's true. Completely forgot about that.
If you're a new seller and you've been sending it into Amazon, make sure you send some toys in now that will move, because by October 31st, you've had to sell 20, 25?
is it 30 days or 90 days? I forget because I remember we're all going to be getting that email. It's either 30 or 90 days. You have to have sold. Yeah, I don't know what the amount is. Is it $100 worth of stuff, or is it
20 units or something like that? I get it every year, and I forget it every year. But yeah.
I mean, I believe you're okay still on FBA because Amazon's in control, but
Right.
the whole point is to restrict brand new guys jumping on there and putting fake listings, I guess, for hot toys, and then their toys don't exist, and then the guy's off with his money. So I think that's the rationale behind it. But definitely, if you haven't been selling toys, get on there, sell at least whatever the minimum amount is, a couple $100 of toys, and I'm hoping you have till the end of this month. It might be a 90-day thing though. I think it's 30 days.
I think it was smaller last year than the year before.
Okay.
So I think they maybe cut down, but it's like you've got this sold before October 30th. 31st.
Oh, wait, though. Last year they made it, I think it was smaller because what they did was they restricted all new sellers from, I think, October 1st or October 30th.
From FBA. Right.
From FBA,
yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Right. there's a good point. If you're thinking about FBA, they may do the same thing again this year and say, if you haven't sent in, you're not sending in till, what was it, January?
I believe it was maybe January 10th or something like that.
It was after season for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, I think whole of Q4 plus 10 days. They said anyone that hasn't sold on FBA up to, I don't know what the number was, is excluded 100%. And then I don't know if that included merchant fulfilled as well.
No, it did. It was. They still had merchant fulfill.
Okay.
You could be a new seller, because if you became a new seller, you had to do merchant fulfill.
That's true. That's true. They're not gonna. Yeah. Talking
boards, and I'm in wait stats, and they restricted everything. I mean, there was. It wasn't even like, okay, you can send books in. No. The last time they said 0. If you didn't send in before, you were out.
And they're going to do it again because what I noticed last year with Amazon FBA was that it was a lot smoother. There are a lot less hiccups that happened. And bottom line for Amazon, they made more money than the previous year. So they're definitely going to do it again.
And knowing Amazon, the way they operate, they'll probably even refine it or throw it in earlier.
Definitely. I'm wondering if they're going to expand on that toy thing. Maybe to, like you said, exactly what you just said, to other categories. Maybe if you haven't sold in something, then you can't until January 10th.
Right. You've got that. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to have that crystal ball and know what Amazon was going to do every time?
Like I always say, I'm just going to call Jeff. I've got him on speed dial. So
this guy, just call him up. He's the richest man in the world now, I think. So
he must be, or he's close to it.
He's just some guy selling books online.
That's right. That's just a bookseller.
But I hope this conversation kind of gets you thinking, out there in the audience, that it's time to start acting.
Yes.
Mo, I love your plan about, put it on a calendar, put it in. I need all my Halloween stuff in before the 30th. Both Amazon and eBay.
Yeah. Just follow. Yeah, exactly. Just follow the dates, follow the trends, but just don't go crazy. And then you should be good.
Yeah. For a new seller, follow even for a medium seller, because you've got, I've watched people and myself and go over the progression of time, and you go from season after season, and you become more knowledgeable, you become more prepared for it. Last year or the year before last, I got Q4 and missed completely out. I mean, I was like, oh, what's Q4? Well, yeah, it's the biggest selling season in the year. Oh yeah, okay, well that's cool. and missed that last year. I hit it pretty good. Had some great sales. And this year I expect to do, my goal is to do 2 times as more as what I did last year.
Awesome.
So just that progression of it. But that comes in with the 3 things we always talk about: time, capital, and space.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you have those 3 to really, and because there are people that, Chris was one, he just nailed it Q4 last year.
Yeah.
He's a machine. He's going to be one of our new overlords. I think he's got to be a machine because, 100 a day. I always tease him about being a machine.
I think there's 2 of them. He's just,
he's twins and we don't know it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's whatever one's on camera. If we see him walking in the back, Chris, I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
If we see your twin walking in the background, then we're going to out you.
Yeah.
But you can literally set your whole year up in 3 months.
Definitely, and there's stores that do that. Actually, they do their seasonal, couple holidays a year, and that's it.
And you've got all your sourcing money for the next year. Take some of that Q4 money and always put it back for the lean times.
Pay off your bills, like they say in Vegas. Pay off your bills. Yeah,
pay off your bills from it. You don't want to double down after Q4 because then you're getting in some issues. You always got to pay the piper.
That's right. Absolutely. So another thing we wanted to talk about, obviously we talked about, inventory, supplies, preparing that type, but preparing your family, preparing your loved ones for what you're going to do, maybe if they're not in your business, working day to day like you are, your schedule is going to change. The year is getting, days are getting shorter, school starting, whether it's elementary school all the way through college. So your schedule is going to change. Maybe you're turning into a mini carpool person. So how would you kind of go about figuring out all of that, Russ?
Yeah, you've got, like yourself. Now I'm well past kids, but yourself, you've got to make sure that, maybe some extra daycare hours, maybe make sure you hire a babysitter.
Yeah.
Groom out a babysitter and get more of the kids taken. And you have to balance that.
Yeah.
Because you're taking time away from them. So you got to make sure you also make time.
That's right.
It's not summer anymore. So you've got to make time. And then on family issues, you had ideas on that, like, letting them know.
Yeah. Because as we said, we're scheduling out these holidays where we're spending a lot of time doing something. For example, Black Friday. Let's say if you're sourcing for, I don't know, some people source for like days on end. If you have a family, you have children, you have obligations, that's not easy. Let's say you work full time at the same time. So you need to schedule this out, figure out your, not only like Russ said, your monetary situation, but your time situation, because what happens if you have to do X, Y, and Z, you got a dentist appointment, pick up the kids from school, at the same time as sourcing, at the same time as figuring out how to deal with, Black Friday rush or whatever it might be.
You've got 50 items to ship today, and you haven't done it till in the afternoon, and the post office is closed, and the kids need to be picked up.
Yep.
Dinner needs to be picked up or made. You can stress a family out.
Yes, especially with eBay, as we all know, we talk about death piles. I mean, it's kind of, we think about it in terms of selling the stuff. Your loved ones might think of it in the terms of getting it out of their eyesight, in terms of getting out of the bedroom, the living room, the garage, wherever it might be. Maybe you're stocking it in August for December, but these are things to think about. And possibly having Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, we have family over. People coming to stay with you. The extra room is filled with your eBay stuff. Then
sorry, Mom, Dad, you got to stay.
Here's the number to Motel 6. I mean,
if that's the option, please pay for it.
yes.
Sometimes maybe flash a little cash to family, to kind of, make it a little nicer sometimes, or take them out to a nice dinner.
Exactly. I mean, one thing you might want to consider is most storage units offer a 30-day free trial. If you are really desperate and you have the extra time, because it's not going to be fun moving, but if you have enough stuff to make it, reasonable, you can move your stuff into a storage unit, and they'll charge you like a nominal fee, but they won't charge you the monthly fee. And if you can get out within 30 days, and I'm only saying this because I've actually done it once, but it wasn't because of Q4. It's because we were moving between one house and another, and it wasn't ready. But mine was only there for like 2 weeks, so it worked out. But it wasn't fun. Moving in and moving out twice within 2 weeks is maybe what hell is. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. You keep, again, going back for prep. Just prep your significant other, prep your family members, let them know. Because if you're passionate about this business, you can get wrapped up in it, and you can distance yourself from everybody else.
Yes.
Mo and I are passionate about it, and we can call each other and talk for hours about it. But our spouses are not as passionate, and they can get overwhelmed with how much we want to talk about it.
Yeah, you get the eye roll. So
you get, that's your thing type thing.
Yeah.
So just prep them that this is your business. This is the way you make extra income, or you make your income, but also don't forget about them. Consciously think, I've got to spend time. It's tough. It's weird to say that, but it's something, because I know me, Mo, I can get so wrapped up in it that everything else doesn't matter.
That's right. And for me, like, for example, my listings, I try to do them when I'm by myself, or when everyone's sleeping, in terms of when I'm home. So I try and separate, like Russ said, you got to know your boundaries, create boundaries if you don't have them, and kind of separate. If you work from home, say you have a home office, separate the time schedule. So write it down on paper, so it's like a real thing. And so you have that, okay, it's 5 o'clock. I'm stopping right now. The kids are home. Let's eat, or whatever it is. Same thing for holidays. Maybe it's going to be a day or two. I know people that do not shop. We kind of covered a few things here that might be food. That's a day where everyone's home. They have relatives over, or whatever. 45 days and they want to spend time with them. So I mean, that's awesome. And there's lots to do, but it's going to be a lot of fun. They're doing it. Myself and Russ Lee are getting started with that. So, I wanted to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Reseller Niche Podcast. If you want to find us, you can find us on Facebook, and you can also find us on Instagram. And Russ Lee is under The Roaming Pickers, and I'm under Niche Reseller, and also our Facebook group, Reseller Niche Facebook group. But for myself and Russ Lee, we will talk to you next time. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Reseller Niche podcast. Show notes and social media links are located at resellerniche.com. Please like and subscribe to us on iTunes.